The secret in the shells. The morning sun kissed Dona Carmem's wrinkled skin, warming her as she was gently lulled by the ocean's waves. Seated in her wheelchair, with her eyes closed, she seemed more like a statue of peace than a woman who had lived for over a century. The salty breeze, which for most was just a detail, was for her a memory itself. That sound of the sea, ... It was the sound of her beginning, and she knew of her end. When she murmured, "Now I can rest," tears streamed down her grandson Pedro's face. He was there beside her, holding the hand that once cradled him. The story of his grandma, which had moved everyone, was his too. The image of that frail old lady by the sea spread, and newspapers and social media turned her into an icon of hope and solidarity. A viral story was born, but what no one knew, not even Pedro, was the complete story. 2 days after that magical moment, Dona Carmem passed away peacefully in her bed, the smell of salt still clinging to her clothes. The funeral was a community event, with the entire town attending to pay their respects. The scene of the grandma on the beach had left a profound mark, an unforgettable last request. A week later, while organizing his grandmother's belongings, Pedro found a small wooden box at the bottom of the closet. It was a box he had never seen before. Opening it, he found some conchs shells and an old leather-bound diary. The shells looked ordinary, but one in particular was different. It was a large conch shell with a mysterious shine. Intrigued, Pedro flipped through the diary. On the last pages, Dona Carmem's handwriting, although faint, was still legible. "Today I finally saw the sea. My sea." Pedro frowned. The diary continued, "And I feel it, the melody of the sea, coming from that shell. I feel that the hidden secret of my whole life is kept here, but I can't decipher it. Where is the key, Pedro?" Confused, Pedro picked up the conch. Was his grandmother speaking to him through that diary? He looked at the shell, but there was nothing special about it. Suddenly, he remembered something. He had a vague memory of an old saying his grandmother used to tell him as a child. "To find what the sea hides, you must listen to its echo." Pedro placed the shell to his ear. At first, he only heard the hollow sound of the sea, but then something strange happened. The sound changed, becoming clearer, like a whispering voice, a distant voice that seemed to be speaking in an ancient language. He picked up the diary and looked for more clues. On a yellowed page, there was a note about a map. "The map to the sea's secret is in your grandparents' house," the note said. Pedro returned to the old family house. He knew his grandfather, a sailor, had hidden something there. After searching the entire house, he found a secret compartment at the bottom of a drawer where there was a map. It was a map of the coast with an X marked on a small island. Pedro immediately took a boat and set off for the island. After a few hours of navigation, he arrived at the location marked on the map. There, hidden among the rocks, he found a bottle. Inside, there was a parchment with a message. Pedro, if you are reading this, it means you have found the conch and deciphered the secret of the shells. The melody of the sea is the key to my secret. The shell you hold in your hands is the rarest in the world. I kept it my whole life, hoping that one day someone would find it. It's the last wish shell, the only one that can grant its bearer's wish. But for the wish to be granted, you have to be at the edge of the sea. I could no longer go to the sea. I was already 101 years old, and I was waiting for you to fulfill my last request. Pedro was shocked. His grandmother hadn't made a last request to see the sea. She had taken him to the sea so he could fulfill her wish. The story that had moved an entire city was only part of the truth, and the grandmother's wish. The answer was in the last sentence of the parchment. My last wish is for you to fulfill yours. What is your wish? Pedro, with the shell in his hand, looked at the sea and, with a smile, whispered his wish. The sound of the sea echoed louder, and he felt his grandmother's presence, telling him that, finally, the story of her last request had been completed. The story of Dona Carmem and Pedro is an emotional short film, a true heartwarming drama about a family legacy. The grandson's journey to unravel the mystery of his grandmother's request, and the surprise ending reveal a deep compassion and an unbreakable bond.